Good evening and welcome to tonight's Board of Zoning Appeals for December 18th, 2024. Will you please call the roll?
Jeff Cook,
Here.
Rob Tidrow,
Here.
Nathan Sheets.
Here. I would remind everybody that we do have a quorum, and to move a motion forward, we need a unanimous call from the board. If we don't get that unanimous vote, we would rehear the petition next month, correct? So if everybody would stand, please, and cite the pledge with me. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We did get the minutes from the November 13th meeting. If there's no additions or corrections, I'll hear a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second. A motion and a second to approve the minutes from November 13th. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Do we have a proof of publication?
Yes, thank you. This notice was published in advance. It states the time, date, place, and items on the agenda for the public hearings being held tonight. I would ask the BZA to make a motion to accept the proof of publication.
Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Proof of publication is in the record. New business, BZA 24-2024, petition of Sierra Bennett for a special exception. Come up and tell us your name and address and tell us about your project, please.
My name is Sierra Bennett. My address is 2036 Salisbury Road South, and I am requesting permission for a Type 3 home business special exception to allow walk-in retail sales.
Any questions from the board to the petitioner?
No questions from me?
No questions.
Just going to ask the obvious. What's the business?
It's a florist, floral
Okay.
shop.
If there's no other questions to the petitioner, you can have a seat, and we'll maybe call you back, but we'll open up public hearing.
Thank you.
Is there anyone that wishes to speak for or against this petition? Seeing no one, we will close public hearing and hear the staff report.
Thank you. The petition of Sierra Bennett, owner and agent at 2036 South Salisbury Road in Richmond, requesting a special exception use to allow a Type 3 home business to operate in the agricultural district. It's a single-family residential in the agricultural district. Lot size is about an acre, 1.42 acres. The zoning in all directions is agricultural, single-family residential. The land use is residential, single-family. The proposed variance exception would allow a Type 3 home business, a floral shop, to operate in the property within an accessory structure on a residential lot in the agricultural zoning district. The property has never been granted a special exception or variance. On December 8th, 2024, the public hearing was advertised in the Palladium item. On December 5th, 7 adjacent property owners were notified about the variance and public hearing by mail, and we did receive 5 responses.
Linda Cuisnes and Brenda Tutz with comments. You are a good neighbor and responsible. We are more than happy to welcome your request. Vance Montgomery, 2018 Salisbury Road South, only for flower business. Constance and Mark Smith, 2068 Salisbury Road. It has no impact on us. We look forward to seeing our neighbors' success. Amanda Jones, 1965 Salisbury Road South. I do not feel that rezoning will harm our neighborhood in any way. Please approve. And Sana Titus in favor.
The planning staff consulted with all city departments and utilities to determine any objections based on the public health and safety, and no health and safety objections were raised. Staff recommends approving the application to allow a Type 3 home business to operate in the agricultural district on these findings of facts. The proposal special exception is consistent with the purpose of the zoning district and the Richmond Comprehensive Plan because it will promote a new business and allow for growth within the community and should not interfere with the residential characteristics of the neighborhood. Number 2, the proposed special exception will not be injurious to the public and health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community because the home business type 3, the floral shop, operating from the accessory structure will not generate loud noise, pollution, or fuel odors. This business will also not generate additional traffic in large amounts and will not generate offensive behavior in the neighborhood. Number 3, the proposed special exception is in harmony with all adjacent land uses because this particular type of business can align with the agricultural zoning due to it being a floral business. The proposed special exception will not alter the character of the district because the floral business is an extension of surrounding agricultural uses and will not be creating a disturbance to the area. It will not require large machinery or additional staff in the area. There appears to be minimal or no impact on the character of the district. The special exception will not adversely impact the property value because the impact of a home business type 3 in the agricultural zoning district should have no effect on the surrounding community as the accessory structure sits approximately 180 feet from Salisbury Road and must adhere to the UDO's performance standards in Article 5.67 as listed above, and the home business type 3 requirements in Article 5.36, and there are no written commitments. I'd be happy to answer questions.
Questions of the staff?
None from me?
I have none. With that, I'd entertain a motion for BZA 24-24.
I'll make a motion to approve BZA 25-2024 based on the staff report and finding the facts.
24.
BZA 24.
Okay, I was just looking at this down here.
Sorry.
24.
I'll second.
So we have a motion and a second to approve BZA 24-24 based on the findings of fact. Call the roll, please.
Jeff Cook,
Aye.
Rob Tidrow,
Aye.
Nathan Sheets.
Aye.
Motion carries. Good luck. Moving on to the next item on the agenda is BZA 25-2024, petition of Charles McMahon, sorry if I messed that name up, and Linda McMahon, and George Sowers as the agent.
Thank you. My name is George Sowers, and my office is at 111 South 7th Street, Richmond, Indiana, and I'm here on behalf of the applicant. This is an application for a variance of minimum dwelling unit size in an M2 zoned area, which is intense multifamily. It involves the properties at 1901 and 1907 Chester Boulevard. 1901 is owned by Mr. and Mrs. Charles McMahon, and 1907 is owned by 1907 Chester LLC, Brian Ballinger being one of the members. The real party at interest, however, is Marion Development Group LLC, and Marion has purchase agreements with both owners, 1901 and 1907, for the purchase of the properties subject to their ability to get appropriate zoning to build an assisted living facility. They're proposing to build one building on those two lots with 4 floors that will contain 118 units. However, with assisted living facilities, the minimum required dwelling unit size is larger than what is customary. Marion Development proposes to have 50 studio units with a minimum square footage of about 353 or 354 square feet. They are also proposing 68 one-bedroom units, and they would have units of 521 square feet to 689 square feet. And we have submitted proposed development plans to the Plan Department. I hope you've had an opportunity to see them. The reason for the reduction in the size of what would normally be unit size requirements in multifamily is that with assisted living, there's full-time staff, and many of the services are provided by common areas. So you have full-time staff, 24-hour staffing, more staff during the day than at night. There's a nurse station, there is a dining room with a large kitchen. There are libraries, computer facilities, workout facilities. The plans show several different activities. So actually, their request for a minimum size of 350 is actually larger than what some assisted living units often have. So they need the variance in order to construct that building, and we're hopeful that you would see fit to grant the variance. I've been working with Jared Burris, and he was here for when we rezoned 1901 to M2. Unfortunately, with the change in schedule, he was not able to be here tonight. If you have any questions that I can't answer, he said he would be standing by cell phone, and I can call him on his phone and try to get an answer to your question. If you don't have any other questions, I would hope that you would consider granting the variance for minimum dwelling unit sizes in M2 for lots 1901, 1907 Chester Boulevard for a minimum of 350 square feet.
I have to beg forgiveness that I did not catch this until just now. My employer owns 2 properties adjacent to 1907. So I'm going to have to recuse myself from any further part of this petition hearing, and I can't vote tonight, Mr. Sowers.
What addresses are you concerned with?
1911 and 1915 Chester Boulevard are directly north of 1907. Yep.
I could address that successfully.
In the past, when this issue has come to this board, I have recused myself because of, and some of the other board members with their employer or close proximity to those properties have also done that in open, palms up, honesty that we do share a conflict of interest that I should not be part of the vote. Just unless Kim thinks otherwise.
I'm trying to think of a way around this.
What is your relationship to 1911, 1913?
Reed Health owns those, and I'm the director of engineering for Reed Health.
Okay.
Did Reed submit a response to the packets?
I don't think I ever, they always float down to my office, and I don't recall seeing them. They could be still in our mailroom mix of getting it to me.
Yeah, like maybe somebody else picked it up, or I didn't know if we had received anything internally.
No.
About this. Okay. So if you want to discuss this with the board could make a vote to see if they want to have you recuse yourself, if you want to do it automatically, or if you think that you would not be biased or prejudiced, again, because I think that's what we had looked at. It was a different situation. It was a different plan. I think it was a plan commission member. And we were looking at bias and prejudice and the extent of that potential bias or prejudice and how far it went. You're employed by Reed. Reed would not necessarily have a financial interest in this. So I'm trying to think of whether or not you would want to maybe have the board vote on whether you should recuse yourself, or are you adamant that you're going to recuse yourself?
I'm just going on past practices.
Past practice?
where we were adjacent property owners.
I do know that my client felt it was necessary to get approval by the end of the month, but I'm not able to address this any further for you. Is there a lot intervening between the Reed properties? It's actually adjacent to, I should know that, but I didn't recall seeing Reed involved.
I mean, in total openness, there is no bias either from myself or by Reed for this development that I'm aware of. And, you know, in all honesty, the 1907 property had a vacant house for a long time, and then when Mr. Ballinger and his team bought it, they raised that property and made it more viable.
Right.
For growth and development, which enhanced our property because the vacant house wasn't there anymore. So
Do you care if I ask if there is anybody perhaps in the audience who would have an objection to the board making a motion where the other two board members come to it wouldn't be a formal vote, but come to a consensus about whether or not you should recuse yourself?
absolutely.
So is there anybody in the audience who is either going to be speaking in favor or in opposition in connection with BZA 25-2024 tonight? Okay. Would the other board members mind me polling them on their thoughts?
I don't have, I think if he wants to not recuse himself, I would have no problem with that.
Okay.
I know he's done that in the past, but Reed has a lot of property.
I feel the same way. At the same time, I also understand like the precedent of how it's been handled in the past, not to be inconsistent, but I would follow the lead of Jeff based on how he feels.
Okay, so if this were a formal vote, and if it didn't need to be a three-person vote, there would be a quorum, there would be a majority of the sitting members that they would prefer you not to recuse yourself. So with that being said, it really is technically your call. I mean, I know that, and I'm not trying to criticize past practice, because we try to be, like you said, transparent, open, try to be very fair to all parties, especially anybody who would be speaking in opposition tonight. We would want that to be, transparent and on the record. So it really technically is up to you. I don't know that there is legally an extreme bias or an extreme prejudice to the level that you are absolutely required to recuse yourself, but it is technically your call.
I am fine with continuing if the petitioner is fine with continuing.
Well, I'm going to defer to BZA's counsel. I would very much like to have a vote of three of you, and I would hope for a positive vote, but I
And then at the end of the day, if there is anybody, either in the audience or the viewing public, or anybody who has standing to appeal this, we've given an opportunity for an objection tonight on the record for the audience. But if there's anybody else who would legitimately have standing there, they could possibly appeal this. But again, I'm legally okay with you all three moving forward.
I guess my comment would be that notices were sent to the adjoiners, and we did not receive any response, or certainly any objection from Reed, but I don't want to make that decision for this board.
That is something I asked earlier too, so I'm legally okay with you moving forward. If you were up here very strongly that you feel like you have a bias or a prejudice, then we would maybe go out in the hallway and have a talk and just sort of see what our options could be. So,
I can be objective with this petition.
Okay.
Let's continue.
Well, that's the end of my presentation. I'm certainly be available for any questions, and, you know, and if I can't answer them, like I say, I have Jared standing by on the phone, and he's not absent for any lack of interest or support. It just, with the rescheduling, he couldn't make it tonight. So I appreciate your attention.
Are there any questions to the petitioner? Thank you, Mr. Sowers. I apologize for not catching this sooner. Is there anybody, I'm going to open public hearing for anybody, I'm going to restart and try to get the English language out of my tongue to work. Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to speak in favor or against this petition? With that, we'll close public hearing and hear the staff report for BZA 25-2024.
Thank you. The petition of Charles McMahon and Linda McMahon, owners of 1901 Chester Boulevard, 1907 Chester LLC, owner of 1907 Chester Boulevard, George Sowers, agent. Location is 1901 and 1907 Chester Boulevard, requesting a variance of development standards to reduce the minimum dwelling unit size in the intense multifamily residential M2 zoning district, lot size 6.157 acres. The zoning to the north is multifamily residential M2. To the south is general commercial and intense multifamily residential M2. To the east is high-intensity single-family residential R3. To the west is limited commercial LC. The land use to the north is medical clinic and office. To the south is commercial gas station, also Chester Heights Apartments, and the Animal Welfare League Incorporated Shelter. To the east is residential single-family, and to the west is commercial medical clinic or office, which is the Eye Center. The proposed variance would allow the studio and one-bedroom apartments with unit sizes of 350 square feet to 500 square feet in a multi-unit living facility. On December 8th, 2024, the public hearing was advertised in the Palladium item. On December 5th, 24 adjacent property owners were notified about the variance and public hearing by mail, and I believe we have 3 responses.
Jeff Mullen, 1315 Woodland Trail Drive. I live at 1315 Woodland Trail Drive, Richmond, and we oppose the petition. I think it's enough already building these buildings in our backyards and then now asking for more allocations. Thank you. In favor, Dan Stamper, 1111 Northwest T Street, PNS Associates. And Dan Stamper, 1111 Northwest T Street, Stamper Realty Holdings, in favor.
The planning staff consulted with all city departments and utilities to determine any objections based on public health and safety. No health and safety objections were raised. Staff recommends approving the application to reduce the minimum dwelling unit size standard in the intense multifamily residential M2 district, which would be section 2.18, upon these findings of facts. Number 1, the approval of the variance will not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community because the variance will only affect residents and will have no impact on the general public. Number 2, the use and the value of the area adjacent to the property included in the variance will not be affected in a substantial adverse manner because multifamily units are permitted in the M2 zoning districts and requested variance will only affect the residents. Number 3, the strict application of the terms of the ordinance will result in a practical difficulty in the use of the property because Article 2.18 does not take into account common industry practices for assisted living and the fact that many residential functions are carried out in the common areas where support staff is available 24 hours per day. Also, the Springs of Richmond has 140 355 square foot studios, and the Leland has 490 square foot studios, and there are no written commitments, and I'll answer any questions.
Are there any questions to the staff?
None from me.
So I have one question, just to clarify that the variance is only for the square footage of the development in each one of the units. It's not about the development.
Not about the-
If they were, whatever the minimum square footage is already, we wouldn't even be here tonight, correct? Thank you. With that, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve BZA 25-2024 based on staff report and the finding of facts.
I'll second.
A motion and a second to approve BZA 25-24 based on staff report and finding of fact. Please call the roll.
Jeff Cook,
Aye.
Rob Tidrow,
Aye.
Nathan Sheets.
Aye.
Motion carries. Good luck. Moving on our agenda is BZA 26-2024, the petition of the city of Richmond. And the owner and agent is, not even gonna try, Darren Kittner. I'm sorry if I messed up your name, but if you would. Oh, okay. So is the petitioner here? Are you the petitioner or agent? Okay. If you would come up and state your name and address for the record and tell us about your project.
My name is Vanessa Shoemate. I'm an architect with American Structure Point. Our office is at 9025 River Road, Suite 200, Indianapolis, Indiana. And I am here as representing agent for Flaherty and Collins, the developer of the multifamily development at the old Elder Bierman location at 601 East Main Street. There are two parts to our request today. The first part is similar to the previous hearing approval to allow the minimum unit size of apartments at this development to be less than 700 square feet as required in the zoning code. We have 11 studio apartment units in the community that we are looking to have, I think it's around a 540 square foot area for in lieu of the 700, which is all of the remaining units are all in excess of the 700. So this request is specific to 11 apartments. The secondary request we have is for a special exception approval to have dwelling units on the first floor of the community. We'll have 150 apartments. It's a 4-story building. And along 6th Street, a small portion of 7th Street, and the vacated alley to the south, you would see apartments at the first floor.
If you don't mind, just for clarity, since those are two different petitions, I think the board and I would like to do them in order. So we need to do BZA 26-2024, which is the reduction in size for the 11 apartments first, and then we'll talk about allowing them on the first floor. How's
Yep,
that?
that sounds good.
So with what we heard from the agent for the 11 apartments and reduction in square footage, are there questions to the petitioner in regards to that?
I do not.
I just was curious, I think I know the answer, but to the main reason for needing the smaller square footage apartments?
We're wanting to provide diversified housing at a number of rent scales. And so having the smaller studio apartments allows a lower rent for those units that residents would be able to maybe more commonly afford.
So if I might, if nobody else has any questions, with the previous petition, we heard, the reduction in size, they had some different amenities to make up for that reduction in size. Are there any amenities that are planned in the development that would help offset some of that smaller size.
Yeah.
Common room, common laundry, something like that.
Certainly. So laundry is included in the apartment itself, but there is a lounge area that'll have soft seating, TVs, access to a fitness area where they'll have weights, cardio equipment, things like that. There's also a small cafe that'll have coffee service, that kind of thing, where they can sit, and if someone's working from home or they just want to get out of their apartment for a change of scenery, they can do that. There's also a courtyard component to the project that in warm weather, they would be able to go outside. There's a pool, grilling stations, all kinds of outside amenities as well. So they would certainly have communal space that they could be involved in, similar to the senior care project that was just covered. That would allow them to get out of their apartments.
Thank you. Are there any other questions to the petitioner?
I do not.
Thank you. We'll have you back in just a second. How's that? With that, I'll open up public hearing for petition of BZA 26-2024, which is the reduction in size for 11 apartments in the development. Is there anybody wishing to speak in favor or against that? Hearing and seeing none, we'll close public hearing on BZA 26-2024 and hear the staff report.
Thank you. The petition of the City of Richmond owner Vanessa Shoemate agent, location 601 East Main Street in Richmond, requesting a variance of development standards to seek relief from the minimum dwelling unit size in the central business zoning district. The use is the vacant former Elder Beerman department store and the accompanying parking lots, central business zoning. Lot size is 2.993 acres. The zoning in all directions is central business. The land use to the north is commercial office space and commercial bakery. Land use to the south is municipal parking lot. Land use to the east is a commercial bakery, municipal parking lot, and a commercial savings and loan. Land use to the west, commercial bank, and a county parking lot. The proposed variance would allow a reduction of the minimum square footage for a dwelling unit in the central business district from 700 square feet with an average of 900 square feet to allow the proposed apartment building to include 11 studio units of 539 square feet and an overall average unit size of approximately 827 square feet. The property was previously granted 3 variances of development standards, BZA 6, 1977, BZA 8, 1992, and BZA 9, 1992, related to signage, fencing, and outdoor displays. On December 8th, 2024, the public hearing was advertised in the Palladium item. On December 5th, 42 adjacent property owners were notified about the variance public hearing by mail, and there were 3 responses.
Rebecca S. Gilliam, Wayne County Foundation. Please accept the Wayne County Foundation's questionnaire in favor of the following variances, BZA 26 and BZA 27. George M. Sowers, 111 South 7th Street, in favor. Michael Allen from Manpower, 500 East Main Street, in favor.
Planning staff consulted with all city departments and utilities to determine any objections based on public health and safety. No health and safety objections were raised. Staff recommends approving the petition to reduce the minimum individual and average dwelling unit size in the central business district upon these findings of facts. The approval of the variance will not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community because reducing the minimum unit size for studio apartments will provide residents with the opportunity to enjoy a clean, safe, and modern living environment, complete with desirable amenities, all at a more affordable price point. This change is essential for making quality housing accessible to a wider range of individuals and families, ensuring that everyone has a chance to thrive in our community. The use and value of the area adjacent to the property included in the variance will not be affected in a substantially adverse manner because offering a variety of unit sizes within a higher density development will significantly enhance the diversity of housing options available to residents. This flexibility allows individuals and families to select the living space that best meets their needs, fostering a more inclusive and vibrant community. Transforming the site from a vacant department store into a thriving multifamily development complemented by retail spaces not only vitalizes the area, but also stands to substantially increase property value of the site itself and the surrounding properties. This transition will attract new residents and new businesses, boosting the local economy and enhancing the overall appeal of the neighborhood. Number 3, the strict application of the terms of the ordinance will result in practical difficulties in the use of the property because the proposed development is located in the heart of Richmond's downtown and is conducive to foot traffic, walkability, and population density. Strict application of the UDO's 700 square foot minimum unit size would limit the number and variety of residential units within the development. By embracing a variety of unit sizes, the project is able to appeal to a broader demographic and create a thriving community that attracts diverse residents, fosters economic growth, and ultimately secures the long-term viability of the development. There are no written commitments, and I would be happy to answer questions.
Questions to the staff?
No questions?
No questions.
I have no questions.
With that, I'd entertain a motion for BZA 26-2024.
I'll make a motion to approve BZA 26-2024 based on staff report and finding of facts.
Second?
A motion, a second, to approve BZA 26-2024 based on the staff report and finding of facts. Call the roll, please.
Jeff Cook,
Aye.
Rob Tidrow,
Aye.
Nathan Sheets.
Aye.
We got the easy part out. Come back up and tell us about BZA 27-2024.
So through BZA 27, 2024, we are seeking a special exception approval to have dwelling units on the first floor of the apartments. And so where this would be is along 6th Street, a small portion along 7th Street, and then along the southern edge where there was a service drive that has now been vacated and is a part of the project with parking, with open parking lot on the south side that is incorporated into the parcel. So what we are hoping to do is that because it is a larger community, rather than pushing another story vertically, we want to be able to have walk-up apartments on the lower floor, as I mentioned, on the eastern, western, and southern boundaries of the site. On the northern boundary, you would see retail space as well as the amenity area for the apartment residents. So you wouldn't see apartments along Main Street.
Questions of the petitioner?
Not at this time.
I've got a couple.
Yep.
Looking at your drawings, when I reviewed the packet, it appears that there's going to be physical separation from the retail side to the apartment side. Is that correct?
Correct, yeah, there's a rated fire barrier that separates those spaces.
So if I was shopping out front, I couldn't just walk back to
Correct.
the apartments?
Yeah, you would go around on the, kind of the northeast corner, there's the primary entrance into the apartments.
Thought I was seeing, but I just wanted to make sure. There, so there would be no entrances or exits on the west side or south side for the apartments?
So there's walk-up apartments along
So they
the,
would enter from?
they could enter from the sidewalk and walk up some stairs into their units, or There's entrances, there's multiple entrances along the south. There's multiple entrances along that southeast corner as well that are secondary entrances.
Now I'm confused. If we're on the first floor, why would I have to walk up?
You don't have to. You can get into it from the main building entrances if
Okay.
you want. From, say, if you're in the amenity area, you can easily get back through in via elevators or through the corridors to get to your apartments from inside. But you also would have the option of
Okay.
having a walk-up apartment on the outside.
That's all I've got. Any other questions? No. Thank you.
Thank you.
With that, we'll open up public hearing for BZA 27-2024, which is to allow apartments on the first level of the proposed development. Is there anybody that wishes to speak for or against this? Hearing and seeing none, I'll close public hearing, and we'll hear the staff report.
Thank you. The petition of the City of Richmond owner, Vanessa Shoemate, agent, location 601 East Main in Richmond, Indiana, requesting a special variance, special exception to allow first-floor dwelling units in the Central Business Zoning District in the former Elder Beerman Building, zoning Central Business, lot size 2.993 acres. The zoning in all directions is Central Business. The land use to the north is the commercial office space and a commercial bakery. Land use to the south, municipal parking lot. Land use to the east, commercial bakery, municipal parking garage, and a commercial savings and loan. Land use to the west, commercial bank, and a county parking lot. The proposed variance would allow the first-floor dwelling units to be included along parts of the west, south, and east sides of the proposed multifamily residential development at the site of the former Elder Beerman department store. On December 8th, 2024, the public hearing was advertised in the Palladium item. On December 5th, 42 adjacent property owners were notified about the variance in public hearing by mail, and I think there were 3 responses.
The responses were the same for BZA 26. Rebecca Gilliam, Wayne County Foundation, 33 South 7th Street, in favor. George Sowers, 111 South 7th Street, in favor. Michael Allen, Manpower, 500 East Main Street, in favor.
The planning staff consulted with all city departments and utilities to determine any objections based on the public health and safety. No health and safety objections were raised. Staff recommends approval of the special exception request to allow first-floor dwelling units in the central business districts on the following findings of facts. Number 1, the proposed special exception is consistent with the purpose of the zoning district and the Richmond Comprehensive Plan because incorporating first-floor dwelling units is essential for aligning with the district's intent as it minimizes property impacts while enhancing the economic vitality of the neighborhood through the addition of residents. As a whole, the project supports the mixed-use intent of the central business district while delivering on the comprehensive plan's goals to increase residential options in the city's urban core. Furthermore, the design of these first-floor apartments are compatible with the architectural style of the upper floors, providing a cohesive and aesthetically pleasing project that makes efforts to integrate into the central business district's existing style. Number 2, the proposed special exception will not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community because the new building being proposed, having first-floor dwelling units, will significantly enhance public health and safety and the overall welfare of the community. Revitalizing this currently inactive property can breathe new life into the downtown area, creating a vibrant neighborhood that promotes activity and encouragement at all hours. This development will not only reduce blight, but also foster a sense of community, encouraging social interaction and safe environments. A thriving neighborhood contributes to improved mental and physical health as residents enjoy walkable spaces and local amenities. By supporting this initiative, we are investing in a brighter, more active future for our downtown, benefiting all members of the public. Number 3, the proposed special exception is in harmony with all adjacent land uses because the current permitted uses for the site allow for upper floor dwellings, and the petitioner seeks to expand this approval to include first-floor apartments. Allowing residents to live in these first-floor units will create a direct connection between housing and local businesses in the central business district. These residents will not only support but actively engage with the nearby shops and services, driving foot traffic and reinforcing the economic vitality of the neighborhood. Number 4, the proposed special exception will not alter the character of the district because the proposed exception will increase the 24/7 vitality of the neighborhood and will spur similar development while also supporting nearby local businesses. The area will prosper from residents being active after hours, utilizing the local businesses. Number 5, the special exception will not adversely impact property value because granting this proposed exception is poised to likely increase property values of the surrounding area. Replacing the vacant building with a vibrant and active development will not only rejuvenate the site, but also breathe new life into the currently underutilized parking lot and nearby parking garage, as residents will actively utilize these spaces 24/7. This increased foot traffic will enhance security, creating a safer environment for all. Moreover, the presence of residents in the first-floor apartments will provide eyes on the street, fostering a sense of community and safety that benefits surrounding businesses. And there are no written commitments. I'd be happy to answer questions.
Questions to the staff? None? I have none either. If you would, please call the roll.
Jeff Cook,
Wait a minute, we got to do something different. Sorry about that, I got ahead of myself. With that, I'll entertain a motion to approve BZA 27-24.
I'll make a motion to approve BZA 27-2024 based on staff report and the findings of facts.
Second?
A motion to approve BZA 27-2024 based on staff report and findings of fact. Now, we can call the roll.
Jeff Cook,
Aye.
Rob Tidrow,
Before I say this, just a part of history. Richmond is based on a lot of history. My great-grandfather used to own and run the Grand Hotel that was part of that area several years ago. But so it's kind of neat to kind of continue building on that. So, aye, for me.
Nathan Sheets.
Aye.
It was a long-
That motion carries. Good luck with your project. That ends our new business. Our next meeting is January the 8th, 2025.
We don't have anything right now. We don't have anything for January.
So we don't have a meeting next month, so the filing deadline for December 11th didn't even come into play. So see you in February. With that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
And we are adjourned.
You are watching Whitewater Government Television, WGTV, Channel 11, part of the Whitewater Community Television